I've got an 8mm T-handle. Pop this screw out that's right in the very front. Put that up in my seat so I don't lose it. Then a 10mm T-handle right here. Put that bolt up there. Actually, it's a screw. Take off the side cover. Alright, so what we have, this looks just like all the nuts, Countershaft nuts that are like on a Yamaha in my experience in the past. So let's see if I can. So normally you use a chisel and unbend the tab. This has got some yellow gliptol on it. Alright. Somewhat flat. That's an interesting nut that's on there. It looks like it's got a little flat on there, and well, we'll take it off, see what happens. So normally I would have either put the rear brake on, but normally just a little impact with it. I don't want to bash my well, I didn't really want to lower it back down on the ground, so I'm going to put the rear brake on. There you go. So I'm holding the rear brake while I'm undoing the nut. If you leave the rear wheel on the ground on the lift, then you won't have to deal with it, I guess. Or you can use an impact driver. I'm always concerned about impact drivers when you're going, you know, there are ball bearings right behind there. Now with drum brakes, a lot of times they don't come off as easy. So this is really interesting. See how this nut actually feels like a piece of aluminum. It's not very heavy, but it's got a flat on it already. So I've kind of marked it up a little bit with a chisel, but so maybe just a screwdriver prying it off is enough. So let's see what happens here. See if if we can take this off without pulling the chain off. Why, yes we can. There we go. Now this is a shock absorbing 15-tooth sprocket. And as far as I can tell, KTM does not make a shock absorbing 14-tooth sprocket. So we had to go to JIT to get one. And because you want to make sure that's the correct space, I'm assuming that we're going to put the, so we're going to put the part with the standoff up against the engine. There we go. Alright, now this little piece goes over the gears, or the little splines that are on that. And I guess we'll find a new spot. See, you just got the little spline there. We won't worry about where that other flat used to be. Boy, KTM really did spend a lot of time and energy on making these things light. I mean, if this nut itself is, which is normally, you know, a heavy steel nut, and they went so far as to make that out of some alloy, that's pretty, I mean, I've never seen that before. I've been building bikes a long time. Now, we never would have thought to go so far as to do that. Interesting. So, let me go to the other side again. I'm pressing on the brake. And hopefully the bike doesn't fall off the rack. And where is it? Okay, that's about what I felt before. So, and as luck would have it, the flat is sitting right here at the top, which is really nice. So, I just need to bend this particular part down. Hold the tripod in my knees so you'll see that happening. Here we go. Okay, so it's got a nice, get folded over, and I'll just kind of, well, I'm going to use the end of my T-handle here to just whack it. Okay, so we just put a 14-tooth countershaft sprocket on it. Now, of course, we've got too much slop, so we're going to have to adjust the chain back a little bit. So let's figure out how to do that now. Oh, well, here, while we're here. Go ahead and reposition this. Put the top screw on. You know, that's a little piece of plastic. which is lighter than aluminum. But it's nice that they've got a cover on it. I remember me and another guy raced in the Mint 400, and we were campaigning a Montesa, and it had an open countershaft sprocket. And the chain on the Montesa is on the right hand side, and it kept and the shift lever is on the right hand side. So you can picture it like this. He had bent his foot peg or something and he hit a rock when he was out on his turn, and he kept reaching down and have to pull the shift or something up. Oh no, it was a kickstarter, that's right, it was falling down. The kickstart spring broke. Anyway, so he reached down there to pick it up, and he got his finger cut underneath a chain, and it chopped off the two tips of his fingers. And consequently, I never saw the bike come around for my turn at riding it. He came in on Malcolm Smith's helicopter. So, that was my Mint 400 experience. Check that again. Alright. Gosh, that was back in 1970. Alright, there's Deacon. Hey, Deacon. I know. What's going on? So, let's go figure out what we need over here. Well, it doesn't use the 28. It does use a 32 though. So, I'll just loosen that up. Whoops. Typical. Alright. So, the KTM has little marks here to kind of give you an idea of where you're at. They're not as obvious looking as some others I've seen. So it looks like we're going to need maybe a 10 and 12 open end wrench. So that's the 10. 12 doesn't work. 13. So we got to loosen the lock nut just a little bit. Loosen this lock nut. And so we assume from the factory this thing was done in alignment. So I'll adjust a little bit of time, but they actually give you underneath your seat. Oops, I'll get rid of these. Okay, here's a stock seat. If you look under your stock seat, by pulling this little hokey dokey here, it unlatches on the back. Anyway, they're showing you they want to the bottom of the, I don't know what that means. It's got 30 millimeters from this line, from this edge here. They want you to be able to lift it up 5 millimeters clearance. So right now this goes all the way up. So they want this thing tightened down so or pull the tension enough that we should get just within 5 millimeters, right about like that. It's about 3/16 of an inch. Now I've got the weight off the wheels, and I'm wondering if they want this done with me leaning on the back of the suspension. That makes it a lot tougher when you got these giant shocks. So let me pause this for a second. I'm going to go check the manual. Okay, the manual says lean the motorcycle on the side stand. This is page 91 of the service manual, or the owner's manual. Shift gear to neutral, push the chain upward at a distance B, 30 millimeters from the chain sliding guard, and determine the chain tension. And the upper chain tension C must be taut. So the question I was looking for is how much weight's on the bike when you check the chain. In the old days, when we just had like vertical rear shocks, like what's on my Norton, I would rest my weight on top of the bike, and then I would adjust the chain tension. But there's so much travel on these bikes, I guess they do it differently. So my side stand is down. I'm going to go ahead and lower it. Oh, before I do that, I get these old bones going here. Whoops, here we go again. I had one viewer comment. He liked my every time I dropped the camera. Well, it makes it real, doesn't it? Okay, so from this little point, you're supposed to measure the chain tension 30 millimeters. So we got a little black mark there. So when we go to lift up the chain, that's where we're going to push. And that's where we should have a 5 millimeter gap. That'll just stay there from time immemorial. All right. Let's lower this guy down. Oops. Hold on. Got a little safety bars. Okay. Don't need that anymore. Alright, so I am really surprised at how much slack we got just from one tooth. Look at that thing. So let's go ahead and start adjusting this. That's not a, yeah, 11, 12. Go over here now. Let's do them like, I don't know, 1/8 turn, whatever, you get those flats on there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, coming back over here. I'm still hitting it. So we're going to still keep bringing it back. And I'm thinking also, without moving the little lock nut, we're going to see that gap there, and we can see if we've got it adjusted the same on both sides. That'll help. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'm going to leave that at 10. Over here, do this one at 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Go back over here. So we're actually, that's looking really good. See that? I'm going to do 2 more movements on each side. So that was, oops. Let's see. 1, 2. 1, 2. That's about right. However, let's look at the scale. On this side, looks like I moved it about 6 millimeters. And this side, looks like I moved it 6 millimeters. But see this little round spot is like directly in line with the middle mark in there. And I go to this side, the middle mark is here, and there's that little curve thing there. So well, let's check the book and see what they're doing. C. Loosen nuts, just change the turning adjusting screws. On the left, the markers on the left and right are the same position relative to the reference mark C. So reference mark C's. Alright, so I'm either going to since this side here it dictates the chain tension more than the other side. See how the edge of this little curve come down is hitting the second mark. So I need to push this back forward then on this side. Assuming they did the machining correctly, or whoever my dealer was did this. Looks like I got to move it maybe 2 millimeters. So I'm going to give me a 2 millimeter gap right there, then shove the wheel right about there. There we go, just like that. Alright, so I'm looking at that relationship, that little curve. There's two little curvy things. So at the bottom where the curve comes down is almost lined up. And this one here is almost lined up there. I think a little bit more. Okay, I think I like that one. So, you know, there's no cotter pins or anything. So now I'll go ahead and tighten the lock nut on both sides. And so I don't move the adjustment, I'm going to hold this in position while I tighten the lock nut. Alright, let's go to the other side. Oops. Can't get quite a good enough purchase on that. Okay. I think that's it. Say goodbye. What do you think, Deacon? Oh, good bow. Yes, thank you. Okay, definitely wheelies better. Well, definitely wheelie better. Just popped right up a little bit. So, if you get into a, this is for Ron, if we get into a place where there's the front end wants to come up, we'll just go into second. And when you're picking around the other aspects of it, of the trail, then use first meter. So I'm very pleased with that. That was a bigger jump than I thought it would make. Okay, put that there. Alright, I guess got to bring the vet in and we're good to go for the storm.